Hi, I'm Amy Hannon, and nothing thrills me more than people and food. I'm a preacher's wife, a mom of 3, and I own my own specialty kitchen store. I've kept an open door and a well-stocked fridge, which means I have fed a lot of mouths over the years. So welcome to my kitchen. This is Cooking Today. Hi, thanks for joining me today in the kitchen. I'm really excited to share this recipe with you today. I'm making chicken parm. It is one of my husband's very favorite things in the world, and I don't know if he is just sweet talking me or if he really means it, but he swears that this is better than any restaurant chicken parm he's had. How about that? And what's even better, and I don't even know if he realizes this, but I use store-bought red sauce. So there you have it. There's my shortcut for the day. But the best skill and the good stuff that you really need to learn that I'm going to show you today is really how to do the chicken, because that's something you really just cannot get at the store. And that's where we want to spend all of our time and our effort. And so that's what we're going to work on today. So what we want to get going first is our sauce, because the longer that the sauce simmers, the more flavor it's going to develop and it's going to get really good. So I'm going to turn my brazier on and get a little olive oil swirled in my pan. And we're going to let that heat just a little bit. And I've already got one medium yellow onion chopped, because I can't do that live, because y'all know by now that I tear up a little. If y'all have any good tricks on that, I would sure love to hear them. You can tell me on Unimaze on Instagram, or you can tell me on Cooking Today Facebook page. I would sure love to hear them. And I'm going to just pound and chop 1 clove of garlic. And this one we actually do want to get just a little fine mince on this. Get your fingers out of the way. If you are a garlic lover, you can certainly add another clove if you would like. Kind of depends on the size of your garlic clove. If you have a little bitty one, you might want to do 2. That was a pretty good sized garlic clove. Those are sticky little guys. Okay, so I have got my oil preheating in my brazier, and I'm going to just dump these in there. Now what I'm going to do first is put the onion in and let it saute for just a minute, because we want there to be some tenderness and a little bit of color. Like, we want these onions to be translucent so that they're ready to eat and you don't get that crispy bite that kind of stings your nose. We don't want that. We want the sweet of the onion to come out. We want to give these a little more time than the garlic, because the garlic will cook in about 10 seconds and we don't want the garlic to burn while we're waiting for the onion to get cooked. So I'm going to put the onion in and let that saute for just a minute. Got a little sizzle, and then we'll go back and put our garlic in. And then all I like to do is add 2 jars of your favorite store-bought red sauce. You need about 48 ounces total of red sauce. It can be, you can do a little bit more if you like your noodles a little saucier. Some people do and some people don't. We kind of like to taste the chicken and the noodles, so we don't just go sauce crazy. But the nice thing is it's really inexpensive. This is a great dish to make if you're trying to feed a family of 4 or even 6 on a pretty good budget, but you want something special. This is definitely one of those. So let's stir this a little. Okay, we're going to let that cook down for just a minute. And I'm going to scoot our garlic over. And I'm going to go ahead and prepare our dredging station while we wait for the onions to cook. Okay, so what I have here are 2 just pie dishes. We have these at Unimaze. I use them for dip and pie, of course, but I think they make really great little stations when you need to do an egg wash and the crumb. And so what I just need to do in this one is just crack 3 eggs. So the liquid, sticky layer that we want in our dredging station, stage 1, is the egg. And because it's a little sticky, we'll actually grab onto the breadcrumbs and hold it onto our chicken. And then the batter will hold, and it is so good. Can't wait to show you what's in this batter. You'll be surprised. Okay, I'm going to stir this with a fork just to get this incorporated a little bit. Okay, that's pretty good. There we go. Okay, so there's our egg wash mixture. That's our stage one of our little dredging station. And dredging just means it's just kind of the, oh, you don't want your fork to slide in there. I'll have to wash that and start over. You know, dredging is just the word for kind of the 1-2 steps of battering chicken. And it always starts with a liquid. Some people will do buttermilk. It kind of depends on it. Chicken, like fried chicken, is a little different than this one, but this one's super easy. Okay, so this is really fun. Let me check my onions. I'm going to let those go a little longer. Okay. So what we're going to do is combine panko breadcrumbs, which I'm sure you are used to hearing, with kind of a secret ingredient, which is a mashed crouton in our breading. The flavor is unbeatable, and I'm going to show you how we're going to bread these in just a few minutes. This is Cooking Today.
Iced tea, sponsored by Lipton.
Hi, we're back. We've got our chicken parm getting going. We're kind of getting our prep area ready, our stations ready for us to really move into action on this. Our onions and our garlic sauteed in a little olive oil. They smell fragrant and wonderful, and that's when you know you need to get a little liquid on your garlic, as soon as you start to smell the garlic, it is cooked, and you don't want it to go too long without liquid or a sauce on it, or it will burn. So as soon as we smelled it, we put our 2 jars of red sauce in there. And what I want to do now is add a little Italian seasoning, just about a teaspoon or so. And you know, Italian seasoning is just all that good stuff like oregano and basil and parsley and all that. And then I'm going to salt and pepper these a little. And then, of course, we have to have a little sweet. My husband really likes a little bite of sugar in his red sauce. He likes just a little bit to sweeten it. So not too much, just a teaspoon. And we're going to stir that and let that simmer. And right at the end, before we serve it, one of our secret ingredients that's really fun is that we add a little bit of butter right at the very, very end, because the butter, actually, that cream in the butter kind of soothes and smooths out the acidity of those tomatoes, and it just makes it have such a nice smooth finish. So a little pat of butter right at the very end of your red sauce is perfect. Okie doke. So I told you that we were going to make our crumb dredge, like our breadcrumb. And so what we're going to start with in our second little dish is about, I don't know, a cup or so of panko. Panko are these Japanese breadcrumbs. If you haven't ever used them, they're kind of like magic. They are so crispy. They stay crisp when you cook with them. They really have zero flavor, but they provide a really great crunch. And then to get our flavor in with our panko, one of my favorite things, I'm going to have to grit. There we go. Is to take, I love these, first of all, croutons, store-bought croutons. We just munch on them, and it never fails. And I make a salad, and my kids run through here, and they grab one right off the top. They're such good snacks. They're loaded with flavor. So what I like to do to get flavor in my breadcrumbs is to actually mash up croutons. So it's kind of like breadcrumbs, but they're already super seasoned, and we already know we love the flavor. So I'm going to do a bag of those. So I'm going to guess that's about maybe 2 cups or so. That's about that's a 5-ounce bag, in case you really, really need to know. And so I'm going to burp that bag. And then you could pound this if you wanted to. I kind of feel like it breaks the bag. What I like to do is just take my rolling pin and roll them. It's a little less crazy loud and angry looking than pounding. But if you need to, you know, get a little something out, you just pound, okay? So I'm just gonna roll over these till they kind of become a fine powder. You really don't want any big chunks. You really want them to be thin and powdery. This is a special rolling pin that one of my sweet, sweet friends, Miss Lola Malone, gave to me. I mean, it's such a treasure. She just did it because she loved me. That's sweet. Y'all have things like that? Special things? Okay. That looks pretty good to me. So all we have to do with that now is add it to our panko in our little dish here. And there are going to naturally be some clumps. You could also put that in a food processor and just whir that right up. And I mean, it would be a powder, powder, powder if you wanted it that way. I don't mind a few of those chunks of crumb. You just don't want them to be big pieces. So I'm just going to give that a little stir. And then to this, we're going to add a little salt, just a little more. Because remember, the panko doesn't have any flavor whatsoever. So we do want this to have some good flavor. Always adding salt and pepper, and I can hear my red sauce simmering up. So I'm going to catch that real quick. Yep. Before that sauce is up and over, I'll turn that down a little and let that simmer. And you can just let that bubble away and get all kinds of good flavor. My favorite thing is that good, thick, dark red that gets kind of cooks down around the side. You want to stir that back in because that's where it's gotten really, really good and cooked. Okay, so we've salt and peppered this. You could add a little bit more of this Italian seasoning to your panko for color and flavor. And now we're going to fix our chicken. So what we're going to do is halve these lengthwise, cut them in half, and then we're going to dredge when we come back. You're going to see how easy it is, and then this cooks in no time. This is cooking today. Hi, we're back. We're making chicken Parmesan today. I have already taken one of the chicken breasts and halved it. We're only going to use one half of that one so that we can fit all of our pieces in the skillet. And all you want to do on this chicken breast, because they're thick, is make sure you have a sharp knife and carefully put your hand right on top and press and just cut right through the middle until you have two thinner pieces, just like that. See that? Is that pretty? So we have 3 pieces right now. 3 pieces is really just about all that you can fit in a skillet, and so that's the number of pieces that we're going to do today. So what we want to do is dredge these, and so we're going to get them wet first, and then we're going to put them in our crumb mixture. And then I almost always use these rimmed baking sheets. I can't help it. They're just so functional. So I've got this sitting here, and it's going to be our little stage where we finish our chicken. And I'm going to use both of my hands. I would rather use both my hands and just wash them later. But this is my wet hand. So we're going to do this in our egg. Just flip it. Let it drip just a little bit. And then we're going to lay that down and press it into that delicious flavored crouton and panko crumb mixture. Okay? We've all agreed that croutons are our favorite part of a salad anyway, aren't they? Such good flavor. And then just give that a little shake. Not too much of a shake. You don't want the pieces to fall off after we've worked so hard to press them in, right? So we're going to do piece number 2. I'm going to flip it and get the egg mixture on both sides. We do want to let that drip just a little and then press it in our panko. We got a little one that escaped from us right there. Okay, press that in. Press those pieces on top. Oh, that's a pretty one. That's a good one. And then lastly, we are going to flip this chicken both sides, and we have our skillet preheated. You know, we have our sauce simmering, and I can smell it and hear it bubbling a little bit. And we have our nonstick skillet preheating with a little olive oil in there. And again, you don't want enough olive oil in the bottom of it where it looks like we're deep frying chicken. You want just enough for it to cover the bottom and just cook, just the bottom of our chicken breasts. All right. So there are our chicken pieces. Aren't they pretty? Ooh, did you hear them crunch? Okay, I'm going to wash my hands, and we're going to move over to our skillet. Now, I also have another rimmed baking sheet set aside because once these cook on each side, we're just going to cook them for about 2 or 3 minutes on each side because we want to get the breading really crispy, and oh my goodness, those bites are so good. But it's not going to cook the chicken all the way through. We're going to finish that in a 375-degree oven for about 10 minutes or so till the chicken is cooked all the way. So we're going to move our chicken over to the stove, and I'm going to use just a fork to lift these up. Now this is hot, so be really careful when you're laying them down. And you want to lay down your meat in a hot skillet away from you and carefully so that it doesn't splash. There's the first one. Got a good sizzle on it. And there's the second one. And see why we're only doing 3? Because if we had done 4, there wouldn't have been nearly any room in the pan. And when you crowd meat in a pan when you're trying to fry it, it steams it and it doesn't get a good crisp on it. And we want the good crisp. Okay, we're going to let those cook a minute. And then here's my staging for when I flip those chicken breasts and they're crispy on both sides. We're going to put them on this rim baking sheet and put that in the oven. I'm going to check our sauce while those are cooking. Oh, they're already getting golden. And I'm going to take my spoon and go right around this outside and get the good, dark, thicker sauce that has cooked onto the side of my brazier. That smells good too. Okay, these don't take very long, so they are actually very, very close to being finished. So I'm just going to take my slotted kind of fish turner. Smells good. So these have beautiful color on them right now. And I'm going to just take my fingers, oh, look at that, and carefully flip these chicken breasts over. See how pretty and golden that is? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Smells fantastic. You can actually take your fingers and that slotted will keep that grease from getting on you. Okay. We're going to let those finish cooking. I'm going to add a little tiny bit more oil to the bottom of that pan just to give it a little bit more liquid for it to cook in. Can you hear that sizzle? So when this one is these are actually browned on both sides, we are going to put this pan in the oven, 375, for about 10 or 12 minutes. We're about to make our noodles and sauce this up, put a little cheese and basil on top. You're going to love every bite. This is cooking today. Did you know that every time that I get ready to use my knife and my cutting board, that I always wring out a damp paper towel and put it right underneath my board? You can also do it with a kitchen towel as well. But by putting that little buffer between your shiny kitchen surface and your cutting board, you actually keep your cutting board nice and still so that you don't have any slipping, which would ultimately result in some kitchen accidents, and we don't want any of those. So just wring out a quick wet paper towel and put it right underneath your cutting board. Then when you're finished cooking, you just pick that board up, clean it, and you have a clean paper towel ready to just wipe down your kitchen, and you're all set. Good as new. Hi, we're back, and we're wrapping up chicken parm today. My husband's all-time very favorite. You're gonna have to try it. It's sure delicious. The chicken is golden and beautiful. Remember how he baked it off in the oven at 375 till it was done in the middle? Oh my goodness. Can you see? Let's just look real quick. Is that beautiful or what? It smells so good and buttery and crispy from all of that good stuff that we put in the breadcrumb that went on the top. So right now, as soon as that comes out of the oven, I'm going to top that with fresh, thick, yummy pieces of mozzarella that you can get at your grocery. And it comes in a big ball, and you just have to cut it. You can wring out a little bit, just kind of pat out some of the moisture on it. Oh, I can hear them. They're still sizzling a little. And we just want to put that mozz right on top of each of those. And then we've got this sauce that we made, and it is beautiful and has thickened. It was our shortcut sauce. Remember, we made it from 2 jars of store-bought, but we did a few little things to it that doctored it up, and the flavor on it has simmered and cooked down, and it is wonderful. So all we need to do is plate this beautiful dish up. I have some angel hair pasta that I've already cooked al dente. It has a little bit of chew left. And we just want to pile it up right in the middle of the plate, and you can spin it with your fork to get a little height, make it pretty. And then we really love covering this in lots of sauce. Lots of sauce. And then a piece of chicken parm right on top. Oh, this looks like a restaurant, doesn't it? Look how nice. And then lastly, we're going to top it with one more big, yummy ladle of sauce to melt that cheese. Oh my goodness. And a little basil. And you are all set for the most beautiful, delicious, easy, make at home chicken parm. I hope you'll try this recipe at home. Love every bite. This is Cooking Today.
Groceries provided by Halve's, hometown fresh. Kitchenware is provided by Una Mays.